Hello, welcome back to the fourth episode of Football Heaven 24/7. I'm your host, Jamie Carter. So, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to talk about what's happening in the week. There's been a few mad results that have happened, although there were some good ones. Luton ran Chelsea tight. Chelsea ended up winning in the Cup on there 3-2. There was a couple of other interesting things. Sheffield Wednesday continue to maintain their push into the League One playoffs, and that's beating Burton 5-2. Also, uh, Leicester got back to winning ways, beating Burnley 2-0 at Burnley. And there was a few other ties that went quite well. Anyway, looking for this weekend, we've got some massive games. Of course, it's the Manchester Derby this weekend. It's going to be absolutely massive. As always, Man United have won there a couple of times in the last few seasons. So, obviously, Man City would be clear favourites, but because Manchester United have won a couple of times there, there's just that slight chance that Man United could nick something with it being a derby as well. And personally, I think that Manchester United will win that one 2-1. So I'm going to go stick my neck out and say 2-1 for that. The other Sunday game coming up this week, it's basically Watford against Arsenal. I can only see Arsenal winning that 3-0, so I'm going to say 3-0 on that one. And then we're going to go through to some of the other games. Aston Villa against Southampton. I'm going to go with Southampton to win 3-2 at Aston Villa. Burnley then got to play Chelsea. And I would go in that one, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. And then Leicester's playing Leeds United in the lunchtime kickoff on Saturday. And I'll say that will be 3-1 to Leicester in that game. And then I think Liverpool playing West Ham in the evening kickoff on Saturday. I'm going to go 3-1 to Liverpool on that one. And Newcastle against Brighton, I'm going to say 2-0 to Newcastle. So that's the review of like the correct scores for the games. I'm going to go into a bit more depth on each one of the games. The reason I've gone for Southampton 3-2 at Aston Villa is because Southampton are on a bit of a roll at the moment. They just beat West Ham in the Cup 3-1 on Wednesday. They're absolutely flying in the league and in the Cup competition, which is fantastic for them. They're having a great season. And Ralph Hasenhüttl always seems to seems to get the results. You know, they've gone a bit of a bad run, but then he gets a few results in to sort of get him near mid-table and I suppose keep the hierarchy at Southampton even happy. And so that's good. It's good going. In the week, there wasn't like too many surprises really in the cup. Apart from Middlesbrough beating Tottenham, that was a little bit of a surprise. But then I wasn't really even that surprised because the way that Tottenham are playing at the moment, it's okay, yeah, they beat the Leeds 4-0 there the weekend before this one, but coming up. But apart from that, they're a bit of a dodgy team at the moment, so they're not doing great. When I'm looking at Southampton 3-2, I'm going to say that James Ward-Prowse will get one of his famous free kicks in that game, and I'll say that Danny Ings will probably score as well, or I'll say Chad Adams will score in that as well, probably get a double. And for Villa, I said Danny Ings for Southampton, he plays for Villa. I'll say that Ings will get a goal for Aston Villa, and I'll say that Ramsey will get a goal for Aston Villa as well in that game. Then you got Burnley against Chelsea, which I think will be 1-1. The only reason I'm saying 1-1, I'd normally go for Chelsea, but Burnley are fighting for their lives. They're picking up points. Yeah, they had a bit of a setback against Leicester, but I do think that they've got enough just to stay up. And like I said earlier, I think it's still going to be Watford, Norwich, and Brentford to go down, the teams that come up from the Championship last season. But in that game, the Burnley against Chelsea game, I can see Maxwell Cornet scoring for Burnley, and I'll say for Chelsea, most likely be I'll go with Kai Havertz. I think somebody like that. In the Leicester game, the kickoff, which is on BT Sport at 12:30 on Saturday, I said 3-1 to Leicester. I would say in that game, I'm going to go with Jamie Vardy to score a double and Maddison to get the other goal. I think Jamie Vardy's back now. He's back on fire and he's going really well at the moment, which is fantastic news for Leicester because they were struggling a bit down in, I think it's 13th at the moment or 12th. Then looking at the other game, like I said, the evening kickoff, Liverpool against West Ham. West Ham, they've sort of like they did well to beat Wolves. I didn't think it was going to be that easy. Well, I didn't think they were going to win. But I fancy West. I don't think West Ham are going to have a chance there. Liverpool are on fire at the moment, and I'll go with Liverpool to win 3-1. I'll say Mane will score. I'll go with Diaz to score, and I'll go with Virgil van Dijk as a bit of an outsider to score in that one. So 3-1 to Liverpool against West Ham. Newcastle against Brighton, I said 2-0 to Newcastle. Newcastle are on fire a bit. At the moment, they've had some good wins. I believe they've had 4 wins out of the last 6. I'm going to say the scorers for them will most likely, I'm going to go with Ryan Fraser and Joe Linton, because Joe Linton is doing quite well in the midfield at the moment. They've moved him back a bit to being up front, and I've got to say he's more suited to it. He makes more of a contribution in games, and he's doing a really good job, to be fair. Although I think he was like bought for 40 odd million to be a striker, but he could end up being like a decent midfielder for him. So it's coming together for them, and I'm pleased because that my brother supports Newcastle, so he'll be happy with that. Anyway, we're going to go on to another game now, and it's Norwich against Brentford right down the bottom. These two are fighting it out, but I feel that Norwich are going to just have the advantage because they've got they're playing at home, obviously, and I'm going to go for Norwich to score, win 1-0. I'm going to go for Timur Pukki to score and the winning goal in that game. And then there's Wolves against Crystal Palace, which I didn't mention. I think that'll be a tight game. I'm going to go with 2-2 in that game. I'm going to say 2-2. I say tight, but they'll both be fighting for it. 2-2 in that one. Anyway, let's move on to other things. So, like in the week, obviously on Monday, just gone this week, Leeds got rid of Marco Bielsa and replaced him with Jesse Marsch, who I'd never heard of before. I don't think any of us had heard of him. He's come in from, he's been manager of Red Bull Salzburg. He's been manager of a few teams in America. He's done really well with them, and he did a little bit at RB Leipzig at the start of this season, and it didn't go too well. They sacked him. I think it's taking a bit of a chance, really. But to be fair, with Bielsa, there was only going to get relegated and keep shipping in loads of goals. His time had come. He'd been found out. He had that first good season, but then everybody's found him out now, all the teams. And Leeds haven't been looking very good, to be fair. They've been doing pretty shocking. So, but like I say, I still fancy Leicester to beat them because they're going to be in a transitional period. Now they're going to be in a transitional period. It's going to take a couple of games before they can get going again. I'd say their next home game will be the crucial one. Let's get some points, but it's very tight down the bottom. There's a lot of teams fighting for their lives. Like we talked about the other week, Everton and Leeds have got a chance of falling into it all. Brentford, I think they're just in a bit of a free fall at the moment. I think that, like I said earlier, they're going to end up there. In the Championship, there's a few games going on, but the QPR Cardiff game, I think that QPR will narrowly win that one, probably like 2. I'll go 1-0 actually, 1-0 to QPR in that game. And there's a few other things going on in the week. Roman Abramovich sold Chelsea. No surprises there. I mean, he's a good mate of Vladimir Putin's, and what with everything that's going on, I don't want to get into all the politics of everything. It bores me to death, but basically, he's selling up Chelsea, and fair play to him. Though he did write off the 1 I think it was 2.5 billion debt, and said that they didn't have to pay that back to him or anything. So fair play. I mean, I've been having sleepless nights over 1.25 billion, but I suppose when you've got his money and his passion for the team, it's just unfortunate that things have been happening with what's going on with that war between Russia and Ukraine at the moment. But there we go. Anyway, let's move back onto the more, to different things, to talking about the football. Yeah, I will be going to watch AFC Hornchurch most likely this weekend in the Ishman League, which is a few divisions below the professional league, mainly because it's the cheapest game to get into around here, and the tube, everyone's on strike at the moment, so don't know what the hell's going on with all that. So it's a bit of a flipping nightmare for everyone. But I don't even know why they're on flipping strike, man. They get paid enough flipping money. Do you know what I mean? I think they're on 60 grand or something stupid, or 90 grand for some of them for just driving a train around, you know what I mean, all day. It sounds like paradise to me. I'd have my headphones on and get on with it. But anyway, I don't know. It's people. But yeah, there's a lot of good games on this weekend. And the watch with my team, Scunthorpe, they're going downhill. We can see that. I think everyone knows that that's going to happen. It's not cool, but they're going to crap, basically, to put it mildly. You just saw my ear there. I was having a rummage around. Right, very professional of me. But I'm going to have a look at some more of the fixtures that we've got for this weekend. As I say, there was that shock in the week. Middlesbrough are on a bit of fire at the moment in the Championship. They're doing really good job, and they've really impressed me, to be fair. I think I said it before, Middlesbrough and Sheffield United will be there and thereabouts. Tonight's games, this being Friday night, you've got Sheffield United. It's a massive one, actually. Sheffield United and Forest, they've both been going for it to try and get into the playoffs. They've both been on decent runs. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I'm going to go with 2-2 on this one as well, between Sheffield United and Forest tonight on Sky Sports. Also, Huddersfield and Peterborough are playing. I think fancy Huddersfield to win that, probably I'll go 3-1 Huddersfield on that one. So that'll be interesting for tonight's games. But as I say, I've run through all the Premiership predictions and what I think is going to happen in those games. But, oh yes, there's also a game. Well, actually, I say I've done all of them, but Tottenham's playing Everton on Monday. That'll be on Sky Sports as well. And that's basically going to be a bit of a do or die game. But because Spurs have been playing pretty shocking and Everton need to get points, I fancy Everton just to get a 1-1 draw there, probably. So go with that. And then moving into the Championship, as I always like to do, Bristol City's playing against Birmingham at home. I'll go with Bristol City to win that one, and I'll say 2-1 for that game. Derby against Barnsley. Barnsley are showing some fight at the moment, and they look like they're getting back into it, or they've got a slight chance, like Derby, of getting out of the trouble. They're on a bit of a good run. There's a fight going on between, I think Peterborough are gone, but I think Derby and Barnsley are showing, well, Barnsley are definitely showing a bit of fight. And I really think that it's between Barnsley and Reading, to fight for survival, basically. I think they've actually gone now, Derby, and I think Peterborough are going to crap as well. So those two are down. Anyway, I'll go with Barnsley in that one. I'll go 2-1 Barnsley at Derby. And then Fulham's playing Blackburn, and that's on Sky Sports. That's a 12:30 kick-off on Saturday. And Fulham will win. I think we'll win. Yeah, I'll say Fulham will win that 2-0. And then we got Hull's playing. I think Hull are pretty much safe now, but Hull are playing against West Bromwich Albion at home. West Brom are doing really bad, but I'll say that I'll say for Hull will win that one, and I'll go Hull 2-1. And then we got Middlesbrough against Luton. These two are fighting it out to get into the playoffs. Middlesbrough they're on a fantastic run at the moment. They're doing some great football. As I say, when I was watching them down at QPR, they was probably the best team to come down there all season, and they've done fantastic. But I'll say I'll say to Middlesbrough will win this one. And I'll go with 2-1 Middlesbrough in this one. Then you got Preston against Bournemouth. Preston sort of petered off a little bit. Bournemouth are getting it back together. They're in the promotion places in second behind Fulham. And I'll say in that game I'll go 2-0 to Bournemouth. And then I've already done my prediction for QPR against Cardiff. I'll say 1-0 to QPR. Then you got Reading against Millwall. Reading, I will go with to lose that 2-0 to Millwall. Sheffield United Forest, I've already done that. That's going to be 2-2, I think. And then we got Stoke against Blackpool. Blackpool, they're an unknown combination on the road, but Stoke's normally, they're a bit unknown as well, so I'll probably just go for a 1-1 draw in that one. And then we got Swansea against Coventry. Swansea are I think they're 16th. Coventry have slipped a little bit down. But I'll go with Swansea to win that one, and I'll say 2-0 to Swansea for that one as well. And then we go into League One. There's a few teams that are obviously fighting for it. Like I say, Sheffield Wednesday's been absolutely flying at the moment. Like I say, they won 5-2 in midweek against Burton Albion at home, which is no pushover because Burton Albion's had some decent results this season. But they're playing away at Lincoln, and it's not really like a local derby, but Sheffield's not far from Lincoln. You're only talking about 40 minutes away, something like that, 40 or 50 minutes. And obviously that'll be sold out, that game, because it's a massive game in League One. But I feel like Sheffield Wednesday, they're on a great run at the moment, and I feel like they're just going to continue that. And I'm going to go for Sheffield Wednesday to beat Lincoln 3-1 in that game. There's a few other games that are going on. Sunderland's fighting for it. They've got it back in the playoffs. Sunderland away at Charlton, and I fancy Sunderland to win that one 2-0. And there's a few other games in there as well. Teams fighting for their life down the bottom. Doncaster's away at Cheltenham. I'll go with 2-0 to Donny for that one. Give him a bit of a favourable win. And there's a few. Looking at the teams, there's a few going that is really going to be struggling. I won't go through all of them because it'll take too long. But anyway, looking at it all, Rotherham are still flying. Rotherham at the top. They're going to get promoted easily, I think. They've got MK United, that fake team that annoys me. And they will beat them. I'm going to say I'll go 3-1 to Rotherham. Wigan are still fighting to get automatically promoted as well. And they've got to play AFC Wimbledon, who are down near the relegation, just off the relegation zone, I believe, in League One. And Wigan, I'm going to just say I'm going to say about 4-2 or something stupid like that. I'm going to say 4-2 to Wigan. And then we're jumping into League Two. League Two, Leyton Orient, like I say, they got rid of Kenny Jackett locally. Leyton Orient are playing Stevenage. That's sort of like right down the bottom. Leyton Orient, they're on a really, really bad run at the moment, and there's a chance that they could still get relegated out of the Football League. You know, they're still a few points away from it all, but it's not looking great. But anyway, I'll say in that one I'm going to go 1-0 Stevenage. Then you're looking at my team, Scunthorpe at Crawley. It looks pretty bad. When I went on the website this week, I think they give them an allocation of 200, but they're not even sending a coach down there because they're that aware that the Scunny fans have just had enough. You know what I mean? They don't want to go. They're just your team's getting hammered. I mean, we went to Sutton United and got absolutely smashed 4-1, which is also down this end of the woods, just around London area. Crawley's just outside in Surrey, but I could probably only see like 50 of the Scunny fans going down there. I was looking at it, but I thought we're going to get absolutely battered. I can only see us losing probably 3-1 to them or something mad. I've got no hope for it because we just can't score many goals. We get the odd goal here and there, but I've never seen a team with such a lack of confidence. You know, it's absolutely shocking. I'm not going to square the blame on anybody, but it does really frustrate me when I think of the team when I was a kid watching them. They were nothing like amazing, but at home they always put up a good fight and they had a few good away wins. You'd finish at the bottom of League Two or near the bottom of League Two, or you'd be in mid-table or fighting for the playoffs or getting in there. But there would always be some entertaining games. But at the moment, there's just doesn't seem to be anything in them, you know. And 4 wins all season out of 30 odd games, it tells its own story, you know. So anyway, that's me having a bit of a grumble, the usual. But anyway, looking at all the other games, there's Bristol Rovers are fighting to get into the playoffs in League Two. And they're away, and that's a local derby, really. Well, in a way, even though it's 2 different countries. But you've got Bristol Rovers going to Newport County. Now, Newport County are flying. They've got one of the top goal scorer in the league, Dominic Telford. He's been smashing goals in for Newport. And I can see that being quite a tight game, actually. I'm going to go with 2-2 in that game. One of my favourite scorelines, 2-2. So I'll go with 2-2 in that one for Bristol Rovers away at Newport. And then there's a few other games. There's Alderman and Carlisle. They've sort of pulled away from the bottom of the League Two, with some decent form, having a few games that they've done well in, over the last sort of 4 or 5 games. But Oldham and Carlisle, but I'll go with Oldham in that one. I'll say Oldham 2-0. And then we're looking at some of the other games, other teams that are fighting to go up. Swindon Town are up there. They're away at Bradford, and I fancy them to win probably I'll say 2-1 to Swindon at Bradford. And then we're looking at a few other teams. Colchester's pulled quite a way away from the relegation zone now in League Two. They're at home to Port Vale. Port Vale are flying a bit. I'll just go with a 1-1 draw in that though. Northampton and Tranmere have been doing all right in League Two. I'll say Northampton to win that one 3-1. Anyway, that's all my sort of like basic reviews of the English football leagues from Premier League down to League Two. But now we're going to just talk about a few other issues to do with the week. As I say, Abramovich is wanting to sell. Apparently, perhaps there might be Swiss owners that's taken over at Chelsea. So that's going to be interesting. But I don't think anyone's going to be able to match the kind of success that he's done. He's always had a knack of being able to find the right managers at the right time and sack the right managers at the right time, even, and he's done a fantastic job of it. They won in the last 20 years. They're the most successful team in England, some people would think it was Man United or somebody like that, or Manchester City, but actually Chelsea have won more trophies in the last 20 years. So in the time that he's been there, he's done a lot for them. But obviously in this current situation, it probably made a lot of sense to him to sort of, and with the restrictions, to get out of it all. But I'm sure Chelsea fans will be quite sad about that in a lot of ways, because it's made basically just transformed their team. They were never a team with that level of success before he came along. So anyway, that's my little tribute. I think in these times when things are difficult, when there are wars and things going on, it's important to remember that it's not we shouldn't be putting all the blame at every single Russian that's that's famous or whatever. A lot of people in that country have done fantastic things for people, so it's always important to remember, that we should be grateful for everybody's input with making a lot of improvements in our game in football. There is still a lot of things wrong with football. Players still get paid way too much. In my mind, the manager should always get paid more than the players. But it's getting to that level where there is respect. The players work hard and stuff, but it's very hard for a player to really care too much if they're on like 125 grand a week and the manager doesn't want to play him. They're going to be just like, I don't care, I'll just sit it out, I'll sulk, and maybe I'll get my transfer. We see it too many times when people are getting that kind of money. They can dictate what the hell they want to do with their life, and if they know they've got the ability to get to that level, I know is extremely hard, and I wouldn't knock it, because obviously if someone offered me 125 grand a week, I would take it probably. But I do think it's crazy money. Will it change? Very much doubtful. The only way that it would ever change is if if we had another pandemic or something like that, where it really, really hit and affected the football, because unless something affects the football, it's never really going to change. The greed and the and the money that they make is always going to be there. So there we go. But still interesting to watch. VR does my nutting, to be honest. I get fed up of it. I don't know if many other people agree. You'll have to comment on it underneath this video. But I thank you for all those that have liked and subscribed so far. It's a pleasure doing it. We're building it up bit by bit. I'm just doing it for a bit of fun. I don't really, care about being number one at the top or anything. But if we get there, it'll be good. I'm just going to keep plugging away. Thank you for all that you've done and liking and subscribing, as I said. And continue to tell your friends and family about us and what we're doing. And we'll continue to get bigger and better. And have a great weekend and enjoy the football. It's going to be a fantastic watch. All the best. This has been Football Heaven 24/7 with your host, Jamie Carter.